Thank you for joining us on our journey through the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Infinity Saga. Starting with Iron Man and ending with Spider-Man Far From Home, this podcast will contain spoilers for any of the films in the saga. This is your one and only spoiler warning for all of those films. Our goal is to discuss the plot of the movie we're currently watching, but it's almost impossible to talk about these great movies without bringing up what makes the others so great. Consider this your one and only spoiler warning for any of the movies in MCU's Infinity Saga. If you have any desire to see those movies, which you should, they're amazing, before hearing of the opinions of two regular Dans in their 30s and 40s, leave now and go watch them. They're great. Then come back here and listen to our take, because we have a lot of great and interesting takes. This is also your one and only adult content warning. This podcast will contain mature language and adult situations. Our goal is never to offend or alienate. We believe that there can be comedy in everything, and everything should be discussed with an open mind. So please take anything we say with a grain of salt. Thanks for listening. Hey.
All right, this is hey.
Hey, it's a test. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, this is me talking at my far distance, and if I get close, I talk like this.
Ooh, this is me opening a beer really close.
Ooh, oh, right.
That sound good?
Yeah, it did. You could, we should. I bet you it would be cool to record several beers opening that audio, chain them all together like in a. and then, and then it's like Dan discussing Dan. It's like a intro sound device.
That's actually a really good, like a bunch of people hanging out,
right?
All opening their beers to give it a listen.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, wait. Hang on. Well, I'm not gonna open it. I brought 2 beers in here. I'm not gonna open
it's
2.
It's on the idea log.
On the idea log. But hey, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, how are you?
Fantastic.
This is Discussing Dan's Entertainment and You: How Pop Culture Shapes Your World. Our mission statement is to keep a vague and open dialogue about how science fiction has affected pop culture as viewed through the eyes of 2 Dans in their 30s and 40s. No topic is too off topic, and no opinion is wrong. How are you today, buddy?
Oh, man. I am pretty exhausted with this whole COVID times.
Yeah.
I want to get out and enjoy life without threatening lives.
Yeah, I know. It's we need to come back to some normal times. That would be nice.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, very, very much looking forward to that.
But doing it smartly.
Yeah, but in the meantime, Mission Report, December 16,
1991. Yeah, that's drilled in every MCU fan's head.
It's such the way he brings it up every time.
And I gotta say, a lot of people didn't like, or at least a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know. They were down in Zemo as a bad guy, and I like it.
Yeah,
he's got
no powers. All he's got is his intellect. He was able to leave enough breadcrumbs to fuck the Avengers over, and enough to make them take each other down. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're in the middle of we're in the middle of Captain America: Civil War.
One of the best.
It is number 13 in our Infinity Saga, the 13th movie. We're on episode 14. We split this one in half just because there's a lot to talk about. But this movie came out in 2016, directed by... I keep doing it wrong. I put Dan and Anthony Russo. It's not Dan and Anthony. It's Anthony and... IMDb, help me out real quick.
I'm on it.
Anthony and Joe. I think it's Joe. Anthony and Joe Russo.
IMDb page up. Looking at you're correct. Anthony Russo and Joe Russo.
And Joe Russo, yes. So we left off. Where did we leave off? Oh, Bucky is in a vice.
Yeah, literally. And he's about to tell about what is Zemo looking for? And Captain America is asking his friend, "You're gonna have to do better than I don't know." And so he's like, he wanted to know where this team was, exactly where this team was. And why would he want to know that? Because I'm not the only Winter Soldier. Yes. And so there's a facility that was containing 5 other Winter Soldiers on ice.
Which is so cool. And that brings us, they bring up that first scene from the beginning of the movie again, where they show the car crashing, and then he pulls up on his motorcycle, and they show 5 blue IV bags.
Yeah, yep,
So it's safe to
where
assume
those guys went, right?
Yep.
And so they feel, okay, this guy must be after getting the control of these super soldiers, like he used Bucky.
As you mentioned, which was pretty cool. I told Teresa she thought that was really awesome. They used the stunt double. Scarlett Johansson's stunt double is the female. What do they call them? Psycho assassins, as Paul Rudd. So
nice, yeah. And I'd be interested to learn what they did do for Winter Soldier program. Like they like what Bucky said, they could take down countries and overnight, and you'll never see them coming.
And he said that was before the serum. He said they had a bunch of kill missions, assassinations, and toppled empires. He's like, that was before the super serum. So after the serum, I can't even imagine.
And then watching the retelling of what these super soldiers are like, it is such exciting scene for me. They have guards in full riot gear, just posted around the room. The guy, one of the 5 that they were testing at the moment, was fighting the Winter Soldier Bucky Barnes. To
probably just sparring
just sparring, right? Exactly. And he had made some good hits. And they said, well done, and checked a box on some sheet. And then a doctor came to check his pulse, and he got triggered by something and just broke him by throwing his face into the ground.
Yeah.
And then the full riot guard guy comes in and gives him a big thwack with the billy club.
Just one whack.
And dude just shakes it off and looks at him. And the big giant bearded guy stands up with his eyes locked on his leader friend with glee, excitement, bloodlust.
Oh yeah.
It's just saying, just give me the smallest fraction of an indication to let loose on our captors, and I will unleash all this rage that you could see in my eyes. And man, it doesn't take long for the other 2 to stand up right behind him, and then the guard in charge to tell the Winter Soldier
immediately,
get me out of here.
Yeah, and dude, my favorite part about this scene, and I'm so glad that you like this one a lot too, is because the colonel, I'm guessing by his hat that he's a colonel.
Right.
He puts his gun up next to the Winter Soldier's shoulder and basically uses him at the same way you would a riot shield. I don't know if you noticed that. He barely had his eyes over his shoulder, and his gun is right locked in front of where his eyes are. So he's basically using the Winter Soldier as just an object
tool.
A tool.
I mean, which ultimately that's exactly what they viewed him as.
Yeah,
and what they wanted to view the other 5 as.
But they were a little harder to control. But
you gotta say, ultimately, they were reconfined and put back on ice.
Yeah,
so
they didn't use them, clearly.
Hydra, but we don't know that. But Hydra won that day.
Yeah,
they didn't escape.
That's true. Oh yeah, you're okay. I got you. I see what you're saying. Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they weren't able to get away like Bucky was.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, Hydra did seem to have infinite resource, infinite people and engineers and a lot of ability.
Yeah.
But cool.
After we find out that Cap is basically correct and that we think Zemo is going after these 5 additional super soldiers to, I'm guessing, take over the world as is tradition.
One could fear, right?
Yeah. So then we segue over to the aftermath of their scuffle in, what was it, Vienna? No, not Vienna. In Germany, with Cap escaping or Bucky escaping, and everyone chasing him down. Tony promises
You can deliver them in 72 hours and use it 36.
36. Director Ross says 36. You have 36 hours. He wants Barnes, Wilson, Rogers.
Scarlet Witch, or Scarlet Witch.
He did what I do.
There should be some kind of when that goes on when we do that.
Scarlet Witch counter.
Black Widow. Yeah, right. The Scarlet Witch counter. Right. 7.
That's
right,
number.
exactly.
Oh, we got it wrong again. That's a Scarlet Witch counter. Put it up on the board.
Yeah, that's great. No, but we should. But she says, like, "Are you all right?" And he, of course, uber confident. Tony's like, "Yeah, always."
Yeah.
Even
though he was just complaining about, he's like, my left arm is numb.
Yeah,
Is that normal?
Sure I'm having a heart attack. You okay? Yeah.
Oh, I'm fine. So she
and they
says,
both have ideas.
Yeah, they both have ideas, and he says, "Where's yours?" She says, "Downstairs." So she's referring to Black Panther, and she says, right. "Where's yours?" And they cut to Queens.
This seems like, I mean,
right.
They picked the music well. I did like, and man, I gotta say, Spider-Man's introduction is I loved it. I loved it a lot.
Tom Holland,
to see,
a super young looking, in high school still, Spider-Man, the appropriate age, the appropriate nerdiness in a modern setting. Yeah, Tom Holland fucking nails it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got maybe less than 10 minutes of on screen time, and I just totally believe that this guy is fucking Peter Parker from start to finish.
But and he's acting next to
Marissa Tomei and Robert Downey Jr.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Wow, you know what I mean? It's got to be mind blowing for Tom Holland.
Yeah.
And a big educational experience, for sure. But I mean,
this movie is probably very representative of how his acting career was. I mean, I don't remember him in anything else before this.
Yeah, actually, and post this, he got that one movie that was said to be terrible with the actor with the same actress who played Rey Skywalker in the sequel trilogy.
Oh, Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley, right? It was her and Tom Holland, who were in a movie together.
I feel like they'd be so cute together.
Right? They probably would, but apparently the movie was so terrible that it never made it to screen.
Oh, wow.
I think they just scrapped it.
Wow. Wow. Poor movie, whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was great seeing, I mean, so Tony's there under the pretense that Peter filled out some sort of grant for the September Foundation, which we found out from the beginning of this movie. Yeah, when he's giving his speech at MIT, that the September Foundation is the foundation he started to, further. Yeah. So it's a real thing.
All your grants are paid for, right?
Yes, all your projects are paid. Everything's funded, and so he, under the guise of that, tricks the unusually attractive aunt, Aunt May, to convince her a couple minutes to get alone with Peter, which he then says, "Hey, buddy, you're Spider-Man."
Yeah, which
he says,
Spider guy,
Spider boy. Yeah, quick. I love how he's like, "Quick question of the rhetorical variety." That's you, right? Spider-Man immediately tries to deny it. He's like, he said a question of the rhetorical variety.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Well, both of them actually are obviously superior intellectually people, and on top of Peter Parker being so physically capable, he's supposed to be a natural budding genius. And that's what gave him the capacity of making his in chemistry, which they in the Spider-Man movie,
the actual movie,
they toss it up as kind of like a comedy skit where he's like kind of in between lectures in high school. He's mixing chemicals in his
the drawer,
beakers, drawer to try to test it out. He'd have to do something a lot more than just with scrapped high school chemicals. Though I could agree that might be his easiest or most likely access to it. He just have to figure out how he can get more of it and without naming him. So I like the idea. I like the idea that that they showed him make it, but he would have done it in his room like a crazy hobo scientist.
Like a crazy hobo scientist. But a hobo wouldn't have a room, so a hobo would be doing it like under
Right.
a car park or.
My point is poor and unfunded.
Yeah, not a well-funded in a white room with a lab coat kind of scientist.
Right.
This is street science.
Yeah.
I like that they didn't force a fucking origin story down our throat. He just says, when what happened to me happened.
Yeah.
All my senses got dialed to 11. And then did you catch the whole like millennial way of phrasing with great power comes great responsibility?
Yeah.
So yeah, he basically
with like
he
37
said,
words.
Yeah. He
Nice.
like over explains it. He said, when you could do the things that I do, and then the bad things happen. They happen because of you. It's like, that's with great power comes great response. So I loved all the dialogue in this scene.
Yeah.
The back and forth. Tony not buying for a minute that he's just a regular high school kid. And then Tom Holland, without even actually coming clean, basically just accepting that, this guy, Iron Man, knows that I am also.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he comes at it with a well-adjusted, pretty good 16, 17-year-older Mike. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, like initially tries to bluff his way out of being caught.
Yeah, exactly. Like getting caught sneaking out of the house or something.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, you know would you get that on YouTube? You know that's all this computers, man. It's like, bro, you're so full of shit right now.
Yeah. No, and then get me out of this. That was so great.
Don't tell Aunt May. He sticks him to the doorknob. He's like, all right, Spider-Man, there's a serious moment, and then get me out of this shit.
Right? Yeah, I gotta imagine Tony Stark being like pretty weirded out by that. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, you know, he knows what it is, and he's, man.
Get me out of this.
Yeah, it was just really well crafted, man. I wish that DC could have an ounce of what Marvel is packing.
Just stick to the cartoons, man. Let's just call it a day.
Right.
We'll just stick to. Oh, there's a new DC cartoon coming out. Woo! There's a new DC movie coming out. Crickets.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But anyway, back to Marvel.
Yeah, right. Look at this.
After we are, his face. So we try to watch the movie while we're discussing it, just kind of skipping forward, and he paused it. So
that's the Vision scene.
Yeah, right after Tom Holland is introduced as Spider-Man, we get a
hour 1 minute 23 second 52. It's a funny Hawkeye face.
Looks like he's, I don't know, like getting a colonoscopy
while playing chess.
Very very concentrated scrunch face.
That's exactly what it is. Well, yeah, getting a colonoscopy while playing chess.
While like chess championship for like the global title.
The colonoscopy chess championship. Chess is difficult in normal situations.
Try again.
While getting a colonoscopy, it's fucking.
During like the intro segue, like they do during championships, like the NBA playoffs, there's like a quick flash of a doctor putting on a glove. Okay, sorry. That's getting
so.
Yeah. So no wonder we had to do this in 2 parts.
Yeah, this is a good movie. It features a lot. But so
go on.
So Hawkeye is I thought that was actually back to your point with Black Widow's idea being Black Panther. I thought that her idea was Hawkeye to get Scarlet Witch. Which is this next scene. Which is because Hawkeye was in retirement.
Yeah. Well,
so that's why.
But Hawkeye's also in this scene enlisting Wanda to Cap's side.
Oh.
Know what I mean?
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, great point. Great point.
but
so it must have been Cap sending Hawkeye.
I could see you thinking, oh, maybe she's thinking Hawkeye. But what gave it away for me was her saying, he's downstairs. I was like, oh, she's talking about Black Panther because he's still in the
lobby.
Yeah, he was still in the fucking facility that Sebastian Stan or
Yeah, Bucky just left.
Oh, I'm coming. I'm picking up what you're throwing down. That's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's where.
Sound like
Yeah.
4 flat tires.
I was picking up context clues.
Yeah. Great call. All right.
Yeah.
So
Go on.
recruited by Cap, Hawkeye is coming to rescue the Scarlet Witch. Is that right? That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, that one's right. Oh, that one's
Okay.
right.
All right. And how he did it was that he first lit a fire or a bomb or an explosive.
something off to distract Vision. Yeah, which, dude, did you not find it creepy that Vision just floats in the corner at night like a fucking
Right?
like a fucking Teletubby or something?
He's a droid. He
fucking weird, man.
Yeah,
Go into a bed and lay down and just pretend to sleep at least.
I like how they established in the previous movies, like he doesn't understand why he has to bother with doors and how it's
Oh yeah, the door was open, so I just assumed like just go through the door, dude. You fucking freak.
Right?
Humans aren't used to being able to phase through things.
It's crazy that they sent Hawkeye, hey, go get her out from Vision, because Vision,
you can't overpower me, Clint.
Yeah, which he tried so adorably. Oh my God! Here we go.
Very adorably.
Yeah.
I knew I should have stretched today, dude. You should have done something more than go after Vision.
Yeah, right. Oh man, but he ultimately, it seems like he was thinking that it would be a really easy, because he leaving her behind. Like he leaves, but leaving her behind, like assuming that she would have come with her. But I guess I like how ultimately then he understood that she's gonna have to leave on her own volition, and here it comes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Vision kind of made the choice for her, in my opinion. She was probably on the fence, after the whole making the peppercash, that dish, and he's like, "Well, you got to stay because it's not safe for others." She's like, "I'll be fine." He's like, "It's not you I'm worried about." So he and her are both on the same page about her power, and I think him overpowering Clint, which is all their friends, was probably the nail in the coffin for her. That's like, okay, this shit's, I know I didn't sign, but this can't fly. Vision basically dug his own grave by fighting Clint.
It's a great representation of like,
you can see it in her face.
One-sided power, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh wow, I didn't even think about that.
Right, exactly. The battle between Clint and Vision is ultimately it's making it be a one-sided battle. If super powered people have to be under the control of the government, well then it's going to be a one-sided battle. If you could have a Vision on your side,
oh my God, yeah,
right,
yeah. Well, that's like Watchmen.
Exactly. I love how all of these movies are exploring it, and the MCU explores it in a light manner.
But in a still deep enough where you can talk about it.
And it still affects the character. Mm-hmm. All of the characters were affected by it. No, it's light yet significant in the MCU.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's light as if it's not as hard to watch as The Watchmen or The Boys or any of the other real representations, gritty representations of what superheroes in our world would mean.
I've always loved that exploration.
It's interesting. One of the things that I liked the exploration of was the comparison to superheroes being similar, like the way the populace are fans of superheroes is akin to how in Roman citizens were fans of gods.
Achilles, or not Achilles. You know what I mean?
Right.
Poseidon, Apollo, Thor,
Artemis,
Zeus, Artemis.
Zeus, so akin to that, these superheroes, these ideals of personhood, these super persons, there you go, are ultimate representations of if your feelings can manifest through power and action.
Yeah.
That's what these things would be. So it's interesting that comparison and the comparison that you just made, which was, I guess not you just made, but like Alan Moore and with the Watchmen.
Oh yeah.
And the Boys make, where if these gods, like, I mean, I would imagine that there would be an equally graphic and terrible movie that would be hard to watch, that would be made about when Zeus visited Earth and fucking turned into a dude and seduced some lady and
created Hercules.
Well, there's dozens upon dozens of these stories of these gods intermingling and fucking with earthly peoples. Yeah. So, and those are the stories. I'm just saying, like, I bet you that it can be Watchmen Boys-esque or retellings of those stories in which these gods are just generally,
they're just as flawed as us, but they have they have the power and
they misuse it.
Yeah, and they can be succumbed to the same vices and terrible deeds that we can. Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, and I like that. You're exactly right. These movies are like just barely skimming, especially this one. Civil War is probably one of the darker of, despite all the funny and quippy scenes.
No, but it's friend against friend with different points of view, which is that's why I'm saying it's light. It doesn't draw the viewer into really testing your feelings like the other shows do, but it shows how it can affect both sides.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point out real quick, I thought it was hysterical, or actually Teresa pointed out that it would be really awkward for Steve, considering what we know about the timeline now, that he goes and has his life with Peggy, and then the Steve that just kissed this niece also then has to be an uncle to that niece. So he's technically right now he's her uncle.
Yeah, it's so weird that they. I think I made the argument in the first half of this episode. I mean, I loved the scene where his two real close friends are able to. I mean, that's actually an experience that likely high school guys have, and Steve Rogers probably didn't. He was freaking dedicated since he was a kid to lay his life down, like all of the motives of those idealists in 19 whenever.
So wait, how old is Steve, discounting the Frozen years? He's got to be maybe 23 or 24, right? So he enlisted when he was 17.
Well, he spent some time too after the serum doing, like, there was a big montage of his video time. So I don't know how long that was.
Well, it had to be a little after the war, like maybe up to 47 or 49.
Yeah, and he was, what was he, like 17 when he was trying to enlist?
Yeah, so he was probably enlisted at 17 or 18, maybe, and that was towards the end of the war, right? Like 1943. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like after this, I'm gonna sit down and take a look at how old he's supposed to be in the MCU, because I feel like he's in the airport scene. I feel like he's probably supposed to be in his mid-20s. Like, he's a young ass guy. It's too bad you can't search like how old is Captain America discounting. Okay, so
let's see.
He was born in 1918. He crashed in the Arctic in 1945 at the age of 27. So if we discount the years. So he was unthawed in 2011, and the events of this movie take place in 2016. So he's 32? 27, so it's 2001, and it takes place in 16. So 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Yeah, he's 32. Wow.
Right?
This guy is accomplished.
Right, yeah. I really did help you guys out in World War II, like, big time. If it wasn't for me, World War II probably would have gone a really big way away how you'd liked it to go. they had freaking crazy hydro weapons.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You guys would be speaking German right now. Let's just say that.
Right.
I can't get drunk, and you guys would all be speaking German.
But okay.
Okay, so where were we? We were talking
So
about
32 isn't so bad though. I mean, yeah, he's accomplished and he's a straight up adult. And also, I don't know if I pointed out before about Captain America, is that not only was he enhanced physically, but he was also enhanced mentally.
Oh yeah.
And he doesn't talk about it or bring that up because
Purposefully.
it's something that he continually is underestimated on, and it's something that he is, pleasantly enjoying the one ahead game with.
Yeah. I've always one of my favorite quotes in life I've heard is that arrogance is loud and confidence is quiet.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfectly pointed. Yeah.
So Tony is yelling, "You need to give up now because it's us." Or some guys from JSOC are going to come here without any gumption, or I forget the word he says, without any gumption for being nice. And so leading up to this, Captain America gets Lang, Barnes, Scarlet Witch, and Bucky, and
Sam Wilson, the Falcon.
The Falcon. I was like Hawk. No, Falcon.
Yeah.
And then
it's
we have
a Hawk.
So Tony has I'm like going between their actor name, their character name, and their superhero name.
Yeah, right.
So Tony has
Podcasting is hard.
Tony has himself. He's got War Machine, Spider-Man, Vision. Help me out here, man.
Vision's distracted. No, I'm really enjoying you trying to
watching me. Why do you let me struggle, Master?
I'm really enjoying it. It's really gold listening. I'm just saying.
So he's got it's Iron Man, War Machine, Vision, Black Widow, Black Panther, Spider-Man. I'm sure there's one or two I missed. But dude, this fight scene, I'm just talking over it. It's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of what what we've all been waiting for, rather than seeing a totally one-on-one episode, to see some kind of large battle scene, and they really show that it can be done. And
my God, do they deliver?
Yeah, right. They mix, action scenes with no dialogue, but just straight up visual, destruction. Quick scenes of one-liners that go really well, land really well, and back to more action. That's exactly what comic books are like. So it's not the real world, but the MCU does a really good job at melding it.
This one
and making it feel.
Yeah,
right.
This one specifically. I mean, we get a great introduction to Spider-Man, and then right after he lands, first of all, holding Captain America's shield, which is really fucking cool in its own right to see Spider-Man holding Captain America's shield, and then we get an awkward, "Hey everybody, Spider-Man, how's it going? Mr. Stark, I could have stuck the landing, but that's the suit. But no, seriously, sir, it's nothing." And he's like, "Shut up! Like, there's no need to start a conversation right now." And, and then he ends it with, "Hey everybody, Captain, big fan." Like, classic 17-year-old kid.
Totally.
And then the back and forth between Bucky and Wilson.
Oh my gosh, in the terminal where I'm having a really good time with you guys, but I really gotta keep on going. So he gets them all webbed up.
Yeah,
it's so great. Oh my gosh. And they're like, "Why did you do that earlier?" I hate you.
It's like earlier when they're waiting for Captain to get their equipment from the niece. He's like, "Can you move your seat forward?" It's like, no. So he slides to the middle of the fucking car. Yeah, their show is gonna be fucking awesome.
I'm really looking forward to that for sure. Yeah, and I hope for some reason that there's a Hawkeye in there. I just for some reason only realized recently that it's Hawkeye and the Falcon. It sounds really good, and they're both, they're both soldier types.
Hawkeye and the Falcon?
Right. But that's not a thing, I know. But I mean, I just don't know why Hawkeye isn't included. He's
he's got his own show. So you mean Captain
Hawkeye
America and Falcon, right? Or Winter Soldier and Falcon?
Right. Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it really is. I'm just saying both the birds,
Oh.
Falcon,
Yeah.
Hawk. I'm just saying I think they would both be good too.
Yeah.
They're both clever and soldier-like and funny, and
Well,
I think they get along.
And both sides have an insect. One side has Spider-Man, one side has Ant-Man.
Right.
Both sides have flyers, which is cool. Ah, man, yeah, that scene is so epic. And if you notice, the scene starts with Iron Man punching Captain America. That's the very first hit in the
Captain America. Well,
in the side by side. Yeah, it is definitely a really good choreographed scene. Like you said, plenty of slow motion action, or not slow motion, plenty of action, then stopped for quips and funniness, and then right back into the action.
Yeah, and not only quips and funniness, but also character development. Like, we're still friends, right? Depends how hard you hit me. They're saying, like, this is definitely a temporary squabble. We understand we're on sides, but there's going to be a later, and we know we want to be friends later.
Yeah.
So let's pull our punches, which Scarlet Witch calls Hawkeye out on.
Yeah, because he was talking shit before. She's like, "You were pulling your punches," which. Right. She's slowly losing her accent over these movies.
Right. It's not. I mean, it's not so drastic, but it's.
I guess one could make the argument that Scarlett Johansson. I almost did it. One could make the argument that Black Widow is teaching her how to blend in better by not speaking with any accent, because she's Russian but has zero accent.
That's plausible, but I'd argue also that Scarlet Witch's power is altering reality, and if she wants to not have an accent, she could probably just make that happen if she knows she can.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that at all. That's totally true.
Right? Reality is a pretty big scope. That's what makes Scarlet Witch so crazy, is that
reality can be whatever I want it to be.
Man, like... One of the Marvel Comics characters that made a mark on me was Molecule Man. I'm going to tell you about Molecule Man.
He sounds familiar. Did he work with Pym?
Maybe. I don't know enough about him, but I liked the idea of his character arc, I guess. His power was he can manipulate matter in ways that, he could turn, lead into gold. He could turn lead into air.
He was an alchemist.
Well,
air into lead.
He could do it at will.
Yeah.
So it's not like he was like,
It was like the power. It was like having the power of instantaneous alchemy. It's not like he had to create a pot and stir it and throw in like metal pieces. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not necessarily also one at a time. He could say, I want all of this into nothing. I want, So it's basically he can write what matter properties there are.
Wow, that's fucking awesome.
It's pretty crazy. And he initially thought that he couldn't alter organic matter. So he only worked on, anything around a person. He would make a pit, he would do that. But he got whisked into the Secret Wars. And I think through like Dr. Doom talking to him, he learned that he very much
could manipulate organic matter.
Yeah, it was just a mental block he put on himself because he wanted to put limits on what he could do. And so...
Sounds like a very human thing to do.
And when he found out, or when he learned that he could manipulate organic matter and everything was up to him, he ended up going mad or something and just flying out into the cosmos, hoping to not see anybody again.
Wow.
Right?
That's a fucked up fucking character arc.
Well, I mean, it's I don't know, maybe, it's maybe saying that our mind can't process and handle certain amounts of power. You know what I mean? It's not probably power's not probably good.
It's definitely not that kind of power, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, the thing is like, if you just don't use it, you're fine.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, what a fucking fucked up character arc. Like, why just don't do it, bro?
But knowing themselves, and if given the opportunity to know that you can not only change the stuff around a person, but now you could even just tell that person to just turn into air molecules and never have existed. It's like, it's just crazy. It's just too much. It's like, I have no limitation. When you're growing up, you got to learn, what boundaries are and what you should and shouldn't do because and why. But
imagine having no boundaries.
Right.
I can't. I physically can't imagine that.
Right. But luckily.
Yeah.
It's similar to the similar reasons why what draws me to the Superman character is that technically he's supposed to always be pulling his punches. You know what I mean? Like,
he's constantly. Yeah. There's there's a YouTube channel I watched where they literally broke down the math of the force, physical force behind him. Yeah, and it's fucking insane. And he's held the entire universe in his hand, and he's like held all of time, or like lifted all of time. Like, yeah, he's OP, like super OP. Superman, he should be called super OP.
Even logically, it doesn't even work. If all Krypton people were as crazy cool as Superman would be, why did they die? Like, why did they succumb to their planet blowing up underneath them? I know it's a red sun, light yellow sun thing, but they were also supposed to be
a spacefaring race.
And if they knew that they could also be just supreme beings if they were around a yellow sun and it's just
maybe
so far away.
It's the same thing as Molecule Man. Maybe their leaders decided, well, let's stay in check. We don't want our people to know we have that kind of power.
I doubt it.
Hey man, these are just fun thought experiments.
Totally. No thought is wrong, right? I guess.
Yeah, no.
But I just say I doubt it.
No topic is too off topic, and no opinion is wrong.
It's not.
But that's what I just said was wrong. Is basically what I heard you say.
I just said I doubt it. Yeah. It's not. It's absolutely wrong. It's just in my mind, it's likely wrong. No, okay. Well, I definitely think that we've all added, not all, but the writers of Superman have added multiple layers of the depth of what a Kryptonian, what Kryptonian life is like, and all that blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying what we view as Superman now is a far cry from what Superman and the idea of a Kryptonian was
in 1930,
way back
right? Whatever, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
He's a Superman. He can run faster than a speeding train and jump over buildings in a single bound. Yeah, yeah. Our imagination nowadays is like, well,
could he hold the universe?
And where do his people come from? What was his mother's motivation to actually give birth to him? Yeah,
that is a part of this story.
Yeah, so. Yeah. But anyway, this fight scene is so good.
It's so amazing, I gotta say.
But we get a lot of good examples of all their powers. So we get Ant-Man shrinking down, going inside Iron Man's suit, telling him, "Oh yeah, you're gonna need to take this thing into the shop."
He's adorable.
Speaking
every sense of the word.
Oh, it's right? Your conscience. Yeah, we don't talk much these days. And then he says, he's like, "Oh, we need a distraction. We need to." Sam Wilson says, "I hate to break it to you, but if we're going to win this, some of us need to lose it." And he says, "We're going to need a distraction." And Ant-Man says, like, "All right, I think I could do a distraction, but I might tear myself in half." And I just love that Bucky Barnes is like, "What? He's going to tear himself in half?"
Yeah, right. Wow.
He's like, "You sure about that, Scott?" He's like, "Yeah. I mean, I've only done it once in a lab, and I passed out right after. But yeah, I'm sure." And then right before he makes his epic leap as a tiny little guy, he's like, "I'm the boss, I'm the boss, I'm the boss, I'm the boss." I just feel like Scott is like all of us. If you gave anybody any random person superpowers, they would be Scott Lang.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
I'm the boss, I'm the boss, I'm the boss, I'm the boss. Right. And then he grows really big to his own surprise.
Yeah, he's super pleased with it.
Very happy.
And like when he was later talking with Goliath about it, Goliath's like, "I almost got 35 feet."
Yeah,
and he's like,
60 feet.
65.
What? 60 feet? He's like, yeah, no big deal.
A matter of pride.
And then,
oh man,
something just flew in me.
I liked though earlier when he hit Ant-Man in the chest by like
he cannonballed his ass.
Yeah, and like another power that Vision has is density control.
Just like Mjolnir?
Right, exactly. Just like Mjolnir. He can make himself extremely dense, which is what he did to Hawkeye when he punched him. Like, first hit, he reacted, but then...
the three other hits after that did nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I love shit like that. And I know it's, we've been going back and forth on DC, but in Batman versus Superman,
it was so
when
good
he's
in that
punching
one.
him and he hits the first two wince, and then 3, 4, 5,
And
6.
He just changes to a smirk.
Yeah. And Superman's like, Yeah, but
dude, I love that scene. That movie was rough.
That movie was rough. Yeah.
The fight.
All of the different tactics that Batman employs. I'm like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
The sound, the guns, the fucking spear, the gas grenades. I was like, dude. Go Batman, Batman.
Did you ever see that DT movie of Old Man Batman?
Fuck yeah.
Superman?
Hell yeah, dude.
Man,
he kicks if he hadn't been having a heart attack, he would have fucking kicked his ass.
Yeah, right. The lone shot from the one-armed Green Arrow.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. But anyway, back to this movie.
Sorry, DC, get better.
Get better, DC. Just get better. If they ever launch a Flash movie, they could do a Flashpoint and change the entire timeline. I don't know if you know anything about Flashes.
Yeah, no doubt that the comics are very versed in figuring out ways to reboot a story,
and that's
they've done it dozens of times.
Well, Marvel has too, but the Nerdist guy was saying is like if they chose to do any one of the Flashpoint Flashpoint timelines where he goes back to change the timeline to either save his mom or whatever, they could totally change the entire DCU storyline and actually have it mesh up good like the MCU. But
yeah, I mean, if they ever, I don't know if it's Warner Brothers that is the studio that is the stinky meddler.
It's WB. But that's what doesn't make sense to me because the WB also does their cartoon movies, which are fucking awesome. There's got to be two different people in charge of two different.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
Yeah. But anyway, so we have our conflict at I forget what airport it is, but I know it's in Germany. And it unfortunately ends with what I thought in the trailers would have been a casualty based on the way the trailers were playing it. But Rhodes gets taken out on accident by Vision trying to turn. What does he say? He's like, Rhodes tells Vision, he's like, he has thruster, turn him into a glider. So he just wants him to take out Sam's flight pack. And instead, being distracted by this, that, or the other thing. First, Sam dodges it, which is cool on Sam's part. But Vision's laser beam takes out the power source on Rhodes' suit, so he immediately plummets. And it doesn't end well. So he hits the ground, and we have a Vision realizing that he's distractible. Tony, that's a trailer picture right there. Tony clutching.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, distractible, which
you took issue with that?
I don't know. It seemed weird that they would take the stance that I'm not able to be distracted. I don't know. He does have the Mind Stone, and he has, I don't know, the super vibranium body processor that is running him, or something. But I mean, to say that I cannot make a wrong decision is crazy. I don't know.
That, to me, I took issue with it because Sam dodged the blast. Like, I mean, unless Vision, unless his looking and aiming the laser was a trajectory that he knew if he missed would hit him, and he still fired it, then I could say, yeah, distracted, because you knew if Sam had dodged it, you would have hit his power source. But I don't think that's what happened. I think he meant to take out his glider, and it all just happened to line up and fuck Rhodes over. It was just an accident. And then it's not like they totally put the blame on Vision 100%, but it wasn't, I don't know. It just seemed like saying that Vision was distracted was the reason that Rhodes lost a part of his spine and crashed. Just seems a little ridiculous to me. It just seemed like Sam dodged it, it hit him, and then he fell.
It's weird to say that the point on Vision, because ultimately it's the conflict that brought this needless injury.
Yeah.
Maybe it's some deflection to say, oh, I got distracted, but
maybe
we should have been having this fight in the first place.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it is just, it's supposed to be received as deflection on their part. Deflection from accepting the responsibility that they signed this thing, which is what caused them to have conflict in the first place.
I mean, from Age of Ultron, though, like, Ultron had some computer logic that was telling him with such assurance that we're doomed. And Vision also sees that. He agreed with Ultron.
Yeah, he did.
So...
But he said there is grace in their failings.
Totally.
So
But I think that just because Vision is an understanding soul, he's happy to end the feelings of frustration with the idea that he can be distracted. Like, maybe he said he in his internal circuits, he's like, I couldn't have anticipated. Well, I don't know. It is silly to say I couldn't have anticipated him dodging my shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, he definitely. I mean,
I don't understand how fast a
laser
beam goes.
Yeah, exactly. But it was obviously slow enough for Sam to look down, see it coming, turn off his pack, and react. Yeah, so it's
to turn to the somersault mode.
So like I said, like using the blaming Vision thing or the distraction thing on Vision for it seems to be, I don't know. I took a little issue with it just because. I
mean, think about that. What if Vision saw this shot? I mean, because Vision probably can experience a second in a long amount of time if he wanted to.
Yeah.
And so, tense situation. He was told to shoot this guy turn him into a glider, and he understands that it was Tony who made this comment, right? So he understands that Tony wants.
It was Rhodes.
Oh, it was Rhodes. Yeah. Right. So he understands that Rhodes wants to neutralize the situation in a way that, oh man, now I have to think about this because it was Rhodes. Oh.
Yeah, it was Rhodes. Rhodes was being chased by Sam. He says, "Vision, I got a glider, or there's a, I got a bogey on me. He's got thruster. Turn him into a glider." Right. Yeah. And so Vision looks at him, takes aim, fires.
I mean, he must have seen in that moment of aim that not only was he looking at Falcon's glider shot booster thing, thruster, but also directly behind that, the beam would intersect with Rhodes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it's a beam. Like, it's going to keep going probably. It's not going to hit him and then be absorbed entirely by his pack. But yeah, who knows? I mean...
So maybe, oh man, maybe Vision was making that call and saying, so if you want to employ my artillery, to risk the death of this person.
Because Tony could have easily dropped off and shut down Sam. Tony and Rhodes were both flying after Captain in the jet. Rhodes calls out to Vision on the ground to take out thing, and instead of calling out to Tony and saying, "Hey, take him out," that's I mean, plot and continuity is whatever. They're minimal.
It's probably, you're right. It's probably in an effort to keep the motives aligned and right for the story.
Yeah.
But
yeah, for the sake of plot and writing, I understand, but yeah. I take a little issue.
It's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I love this underground sea
the
prison.
The triple max floating pokey.
Yeah, it's a great suppression for escapees and rescuees.
You escape, then what?
Right,
surrounded by ocean.
I wonder if this facility can actually move too. You know what I mean? If it's a large submarine.
Yeah, my assumption is it's a submarine.
Yeah, so if it's a big submarine, then you can never really know where it's at.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought it was cool that this was probably developed sometime after Thor, or sometime between Thor and Avengers, in my opinion.
Right.
Where they knew that, oh shit, we have a lot of enhanced people suddenly showing up out of nowhere. Well, what if we need to imprison them? Let's build a supermax prison in the middle of the ocean.
While they have cool cells, it would have been neat to see, as a connection to the Avengers, those big giant glass pods that meant
the Hulk. Yeah, that would be cool.
So if there was just a whole bunch of those that they all
continuity between
but imagine if one of them was in Hawkeye, a regular guy who just so happens to be good with aim.
Yeah, they put him in that shit. So, Ant, boot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, if there were these big transparent pods and they could see the ocean out there on the sides.
Oh, yeah.
And if they, misbehaved or were deemed a threat, they could just be detached and deposited into the sea.
Yep. Or just flooded with ocean water.
Right. Oh, yeah.
God.
Yeah, exactly.
We're imagining a terrible prison right now. We are.
But, yeah, that's true. For continuity, brother.
Yeah, it would have been dope. Speaking of continuity, and I know I've mentioned it, I think in Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3 I mentioned it, but this one, it reminded me of, so you remember in Endgame when he's chasing, or Infinity War, when Tony is chasing after the Squidward after he escaped Earth, and he's like, Friday, give me some extra juice, and his legs turned into super extra pot. Okay, you know how a couple movies ago I was saying I think Tony's been upgrading his suits based on the failures of his prior suits.
Totally.
I think that him being unable to catch up to Rhodes is what made him add the extra boost. Yeah. I was watching that and I was like, oh, if he had an extra boost, he could have caught him. So Tony probably thought the same thing. Yeah. More continuity.
That's absolutely true.
It's so dope.
Yeah. Iron Man gets into this facility and convinces Falcon to tell him where Captain America was going.
Right.
And through that, he convinces Falcon that
he was wrong.
Iron Man has admitted defeat and is ready to.
He says Cap has definitely gone off the reservation, but he's in over his head. He needs help.
Yeah.
So Sam tells him, okay, but go alone and go as a friend. And he's like, okay. Well, that doesn't last too long.
Yeah, thanks to Zemo and his machinations.
Yeah. And me and Therese were trying to figure out, why did Zemo bother leaving the breadcrumb that he used Bucky's identity and that he killed the original interrogator? Like, why did he leave that breadcrumb for Tony to find? And then later we obviously found out it's because he wanted Tony to see Bucky killing his parents.
Right.
He wanted that. So they were already, that's why I was telling Teresa, I was like, they were already broken up at this point. Tony was on one side, Captain was on another, and this clue essentially brought them together because it made Tony realize that he was wrong and that Zemo was the actual, he's going after these things. Well, it doesn't make sense until you get to the final act where you realize Zemo basically did all of that shit just to bring them to this facility where he could show them the one thing that would definitely tear them apart.
Totally.
It's fucking brilliant, man.
Right. And I like how earlier, zooming in on this facility, you get the idea that, well, we know that Black Panther is tailing them.
Yes. Yep.
He doesn't choose to interfere with Captain America and Iron Man, but rather figures out that Zemo is the issue and finds him watching above side on that hillside or mountainside or whatever, and prevents him from
from the dead or the living aren't through with you yet.
Right? I love that line. And I love that it implies that he's potentially a future villain, which I'm pleased with.
Yeah, me too.
I see Zemo as like a Lex Luthor.
Yeah, absolutely. And not powerful enough. He even says, I knew I couldn't defeat the Avengers. More powerful men than me have tried. But I knew if I could get them to tear each other apart.
Rather than comparing him to Lex Luthor, at this stage, I'd say Lex Luthor. But in the comics, he gets to be more like Doctor Doom.
Yeah, I remember that. He uses magic and science basically to his benefit, which is really fucking cool.
I hope to see in Phase 4, right? Yeah.
We finally get to see what happened on December 16,
1991.
Mission report, December 16, 1991. We see Teresa actually asked about that. Why is there footage? And I assumed, it was just my assumption, that he just happened to wreck them outside of some kind of maintenance facility. And the camera that we're watching is probably just closed circuit television footage of their security.
This is probably evidence that was seized by whatever that camera was, because he ends up shooting it.
Yep.
And I'm sure that his mission would say, go find that tape.
Yep, and get it back. What happens in the tape, Dan? What happens in this tape?
Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, obviously with a mission told to him by the preceding freight car chain of words that triggered his hypnotic state. He broke the window and hit the face of the driver of the car and made it crash. Then stopped and pulled back on busted up car that had hit in a tree. And he had to punch the driver, Howard Stark, enough.
Kills his ass.
To where he died by blunt impact to his...
looked like an accident.
Then put him back in the driver's seat.
So fucked up.
Then walk around to the passenger seat while the lady's crying. He reaches in.
Doesn't even look. That's the part I found the most fucked up.
Yeah, right?
Like as if you were to just walk up to a car and reach in the window without actually like leaning in to see what you're doing. He just finds her neck with his regular hand, not his metal hand. And chokes her out. So he kills Tony's mom and his dad.
And then he gets that camera footage and reports back to base saying mission complete.
Brings back the 5 super soldier packs. I don't know where they came from, but Howard was driving them to Washington, D.C., I think, or something like that.
Well, so ultimately, Zemo shot all of the frozen 5 Winter Soldiers in the head while they were in their stasis pods.
You think I wanted more of you? So he obviously shows in the tape, Tony, as you would expect, reacts the way someone who lost their parents 20 years ago would react. No, I mean, he just found out that Bucky killed his mom, so he retaliates. He asks Steve if he knew, and Steve first lies and says...
They also establish through previous movies and in this movie that Tony succumbs to his vengeance, that his want to get, like with when Rhodey fell out of the sky and Falcon came and said, I'm sorry, he shot him right away.
Yeah, immediately.
So like he succumbs to vengeance quickly, and he accepts that as a thing that he has to do, which is what he did in this battle. Is he's got to take it out on the Winter Soldier, which is unfortunate. I think Tony Stark would be. I mean, again, understanding for the plot and the story and the tension, it's useful. But I think Tony Stark would be, again, wise enough to see that it's Zemo pulling the strings, and that ultimately it wasn't Bucky Barnes who choked him, but Hydra with their command.
Well, that's what Teresa made that good point. She said
Teresa's making a lot.
She makes a lot of good points when we watch these.
She's got to get on this podcast.
That's what I'm saying, man. A special guest.
Yeah.
She was saying that that Steve, shit, I forgot.
Captain Rogers?
Yeah, Steve. Oh, shit, what are we talking about? Him finding out. Oh, yeah, so Tony, he says he didn't do it. It wasn't him. It was Hydra controlling his mind. And Tony straight up says, I don't care. He killed my mom. Yeah, so he was not in his right mind in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, so any rational thought that was once Tony Stark has gone out the window for, like you said, he's succumbed to vengeance.
Yeah. But there was also, no, agreed. And I think that's...
He didn't care about his dad. He got pissed when he saw his mom get killed.
Yeah.
I mean, he winced a little when he saw his dad get punched, but he has, he's got daddy issues.
Yeah. And he liked his mom, right, for sure.
Yeah.
And then, there was the prolonged battle between him and Bucky. After the silo fight, they fell into an
exhaust channel.
Exhaust channel, and that was some awesome.
Oh, that fight! See the three of them.
Punches, all of them were just gold. That fight scene between three superly impressive beings was amazing.
Yeah. Bucky bouncing the shield off of Iron Man, Cap grabbing it, and Captain tossing it back, and Iron Man blocking them and shooting them, and them deflecting. Yeah, it was. That
scene was so great with the 1-on-2 combat.
Well, even the 1-on-1 between Bucky and Iron Man when he's holding his head up against the wall and trying to rip out the chest piece.
Yeah, with his metal arm.
Yeah,
he's trying to rip out his power source. And that's when Iron Man turns on his unibeam and blasts away Winter Soldier's metal arm.
Poor Bucky,
dude.
He's lost two. Yeah, he's lost his right arm twice.
And is out at that point, and Captain America is
oh yeah.
Wait a minute. Captain America is
it's an onslaught.
Takes that as a moment of opportunity, or no. Continues to beat on Iron Man, and then Iron Man tells Friday.
Well, Friday says you can't defeat him in hand-to-hand combat. So he says analyze his fight pattern, and I love that because he knocks his shield out with using one of the hand thrusters, and then later he uses a hand thruster to accelerate his elbow. So he elbows Captain America by using one of the hand thrusters. So he I can't imagine that shit felt good.
Yeah, man.
Elbows the fuck out of him. But he throws him down, and just like in the first Avenger, Captain America slowly gets back up, and he lets Tony know that he can do this all day.
Right?
I can do this all day. And
man, every freaking person in the theater is all crying, I'm going to fight with you, Captain America. I'm on your side.
Yeah, dude. And my I went to see this. So my old roommate, he's not as hardcore into these movies as we are. But after Captain suplexes Iron Man on the ground and just stands on top of him, rips his helmet off, and then picks up the shield and holds it over his head, basically, you think, there goes Iron Man's head. Yeah. I remember him gasping, Iron Man brings his hands up to his face, like, don't fucking kill me. And yeah, I just remember him of all people, like, gasping at that part. I was like, yes, this movie's awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And freaking Captain America. Okay, so Captain America stabs him through the power unit, and he takes a good 15, 20 seconds just catching his breath.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to make Captain America breathe hard. And because he's running 20 miles every morning, you know what I mean? Like, at freaking breakneck pace. We saw that with Captain America 2.
Yeah.
He's running crazy. Yeah, it takes a lot to win him, and he fought an iron golem of Iron Man.
Yeah.
Beat a person in an iron suit with his bare fists and leather skull cap. Yeah, man, that's just and then and Tony sticks to his vengeance, and he takes the low hit.
My father made that shield.
Right. He takes the low hit.
You don't deserve it.
You don't deserve it.
Oof. Yeah. Oof.
That's Tony Stark and his vengeance.
Very defeating.
And I know he's going to take the next movie to reflect on it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So we get at the very end of it all, we don't get a completely divided team. We get our hang on, let me look at what number we're at. We get our 11th, or no, I'm sorry.
Come on.
I'm doing it. We get our 13th Stanley cameo as a FedEx delivery driver, delivering a message from Captain America to Tony Stank.
Oh, yeah.
And during that scene, we see Rhodes.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Well, table for one. Mr. Stank, close to the bathroom, please. So we get Rhodes and Tony. We get a happy ending for Rhodes. He's using Stark technology to get his spine back in order. So he's walking again, but he's training. And then we get a narrated letter read from Captain America by Iron Man. So he tells him, we may not be on the same side. You have your opinion, I have mine, but I will be there if you need me. And the movie ends with that floating island Pokey being infiltrated and taken down by Captain America, freeing our split Avengers.
Right, yeah. Captain America infiltrated and freed the Avengers from this underground ocean. If anybody can, Captain America can.
Yes. So now we have half of our Avengers are on the lam, and the other half are they're all broken up. I mean, shit, they're all broken up.
Thor's not even around here.
Yeah, Thor's gone, Hulk's gone. They're all disenfranchised. But our first post-credit scene is Captain America in Wakanda. Bucky tells him that it's not safe with his mind being the way it is, so he goes back under ice. And Cap says if they find us, they're going to come after us. And Black Panther's like, let's see them try. So Bucky gets frozen, and then our very, very last cutscene is Spider-Man. He's telling Aunt May he got into a fight with a kid named Steve from Queens.
Yeah.
Or from Brooklyn. And then it says Spider-Man will return.
Which she has the holographic or light. It's like the Spider-Man flashlight that was in the ancient comics.
Yes.
But it was more of looked like a Iron Man, Tony Stark AI type thing.
Kind of technology or something, yeah.
Yeah.
But that ends our movie.
Such a good.
It's a very good one. Captain America: Civil War, directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, and
way to do it. You did it right that time.
I did it right. So the next one is Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Which
Doctor Strange
released the same year, 2016, and that one was directed by Scott Derrickson.
Starring Benedict Cumberbatch.
That's right. Benedict Cumberbatch. Great movie. Highly recommend watching Civil War. And
check it out. It's top fave.
We're going to be watching and discussing Doctor Strange next time. So thank you very much for Doctor Strange. Thank you very much for sticking around. I'm Dan S. as in science.
And I'm Dan F. as in fictional.
And you have yourself a great day.